back to the John Williams Show. Well, I'm your host, John Williams, and brought to you in part by BPUA. Don't forget, the new socially outcast, Am I the New Casper? Food for thought today. Oh, I forgot. Special jersey. 3, 2. Back of it, yeah. Boom. I don't know, it's just a throwback. You know how we do it. So now, food for thought. Can you forgive someone that you believe did something they don't want to own up to, but you know they did? Can you forgive? I know you did, but what does that really mean when you do? Because the Bible says that if you forgive somebody their sins and their trespasses forgiven. But if you forgive them not, their sins and trespass is retained unto them. When do you use your non-forgiveness versus your forgiveness? If they come to you 99 times in a day, Jesus said to his disciples, and ask for forgiveness, then you forgive them 99 times in a day. See, it's always 99. So that 100 times is the time where so then they run out of time at 99. But he didn't say they come to you, he gave a time limit, 99. Yeah. So that's why people count. That's 1. Let me see what else you do. That's 2. See, you running out of time. That's why they say when you cry wolf, it's not good. Now, that's food for thought. Do you really run out of time? Now, here's what I would like to talk about today. We dealt with one time or another the NWO and the OW. And one thing I was saying was that if we are going to, and remember that every day on the John Williams Show is the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, and shouts out to those that are out there that's tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving me your analysis, and thanks again. Appreciate that, and we will be doing more interviews and stuff like that to come. But I do want to get you a little used to who I am and used to my presence, and seeing the new studio, how it looks now, and really be enlightened by some of the things that I come up with. Again, I won't be doing any of my chords. Thanks to El Centro College, I learned that those chords are very important. Where did you get your information? How credible that information is? How reliable that information is? Where did that source originate from? How factual that source is? Stuff like that. See, I know. So, what type of research did you do? Is this third passed down information, third person information, first, second person? What type of information is it? Is it closely related to certain topics? Can you chronicle this? Is it proven? Is it factual? Does it relate to anything criminal? Does it relate to anything normal or abnormal, or fiction or science fiction? Does it have any pathos, ethos, logos addressed to it, which it should? Is it authoritarian? Um, is it controlling? Is it dominant? Is it forceful? These are some of the things that we should take in consideration as we learn. Because again, dealing with the NWO, because it's been placed upon you, that, laws are going to start breaking down, getting weaker, and you're going to start acting like, there's no funds to do certain things or to tackle certain issues. Fire departments are going to be dispersed in different areas, and then, our backyard is going to be on fire. Trauma agencies and emergency agencies, which aren't really so old as we want to pretend that we've been relying on this since the early 20s or since the early 19 teens. This system that jumped in place now is not a broken system. It's a system that they finna do away with altogether, and as they transform, because that's all happening. As they transform this, the illusion of it's breaking down in areas. It's no longer effective here. Doesn't work here. People is getting out of control and out of hand. When the whole time it's just allowing the chaos to run rampant, and exterminate, populate, and control under this the new NO. Now, America is sitting at the forefront and pushing the last state of America, which was 2019, pushing the COVID-19, the end of America. With the end of America being pushed, again, when you understand fairy tale, when if it's taught to you well, you understand allegory, when you understand mystery, fantasy, and when you put it all together, when you understand those illustrations, and when certain things are told, superimposed, then you would understand why things are hard to fight. The nature of a person contends on his relationship with his higher source and creator, his beginning. And fortunately for other races of people, they're beginning to look like who they are and reflect on their culture and their values. The beginning of those people who had no beginning stole that beginning and that heritage and that history and formulate theirs, and now they're living comfortable. Passed it on to other races of people who may want to buy that. Those who were forced and dominated to buy that and believe that, unfortunately, have become the African people who have been forced and dominated to buy the understanding and have bought that and put away the allegory, put away the fantasy, put away the fairy tale, and put away the superficiality, and made it a life story and real and a reality, and have not separated fictions, have not separated fantasy, have not separated allegory, have not separated the fairy tale. and have separated the ghost story and have made it all believable and one general idea and one function of a God. And this is his real true story. And this is his true nature. And the African can't fight the one that looked like the one that they say saved him and brought him and gave him breath from dirt. It must have been, couldn't have been clay, it must have been that white clay dirt. Couldn't have been sand, couldn't have been brown sand. Because then he would have kissed black lips. So whatever dirt that was that he made man out of, supposedly, made a brown one on accident, he must have stayed in the sun too long. But that one, you can't fight a people who dominate you because they look like the God they say is one kissed you when you were dirt clay. How true that is, I doubt. But because nothing happens from what I see as a Christian, we continue to believe that it'll be one day. Whenever that day becomes relevant in our present, then we may start really truly interacting with the true nature of who we think God is. And if that happens, we'll still believe that dominant race of people who drew the picture of him that looked like him and he looked like them. We'll still have that type of mentality and respect for him. As the new and old creep up on us, because it already is here, and it becomes an everyday walk of life, because what they're trying to do is make it look like governments and other government officials and other politicians and other lawmakers and in high places is really trying to fight and combat it and say, oh no, this is against nature, this is against our humane rights, this is against the Constitution. Really, all in all, are for it and are just fronts on the not so aggression, of them really pushing the agenda. A seesaw type of a thing, black and white. But we're gonna push against that force. And then there's really no dominant, it's just gonna be black and white, period. Now, but there'll be a gray area and a gray line, and that line is whether whichever one you are you following the registration law, the New World Order, One World Order law. Because the whole order now is, in order to be able to travel, you need that travel vaccine. And then for people to know it, you're going to need what's in this book again, those that's under certain chapters, in order for them to be identified. Some of them have to have this way of identification for those human beings that was going to follow the NWO, and they have to have a way of proving their vaccination. And there'll either be a card or a chip. What's in this book is those who they have a card, not just the general society and public. They have a card or a chip or something on your license. They'll start doing it, and then it registers you as COVID vaccine vaccinated for the New World Order. Now, that COVID vaccine vaccination for the state of Texas, because at one time they had shut down New York and you couldn't get in, and they had shut down Louisiana and you couldn't go in. At the start of the zero, from the 9 to the 0, So the 9 is the end, and the 0 is the start, and the 1 is the beginning, and the 2 is the full preparation. 0 is the start, the beginning is the 9 is the end of it, which is going to be the end of the new preparation. 0 is the preparation. 0 through 1 is the start. 1 through 2 is now full preparation. Or if there was no full cooperation in 1, 2 picks up what 1 is. By the time you get to 4, you got the full order. So by the time 24 comes, the one world order will be the whole issue. By the time 25 comes, it'll be one world order big time. Right now, the ideal is that the powers say, well, make it look like you're at battle, you're at war. Make it look like you're kicking against it, and you got all these people over here on that side, all these people over here on that side. Then we're going to come to a conclusion. Oh, this, the 51-49 issue, which is going to be split that much for real. Oh, that ain't work. It's just half and half. It's reconstruction, reconstruction now. All war was reconstruction. World War One, Two, Pearl Harbor, all these other wars, whatever other war, Cold War, whatever other war, were wars. And if I say there will be a reconstruction, then that's a purge. That's all that is. You purge out the ones that either not loyal or see things differently and threaten the interest of the NWO becoming the OWO, where you under that particular idea of life and that structure of life. When we learn what these words are and what they are, we have already learned them and forgotten them because we've taken this particular biblical text. We put a face to it that don't look nothing like the one that reflect on us and said, this is our Savior. And so now the war is hard to fight anybody that does you any injustice, and fight them tooth and nail, because the forgiveness, remember, is that do you forgive them because of what they done? 99 times. So they done this 400 years. They passed 99. Jesus ran out of forget. Jesus done said, shoot, they passed 99. They had 400 years. When y'all gonna stop forgiving? Jesus thinking about this shit. I told y'all that. I gave you a time limit. I said, if they come to you 99 times in a day, and 99 times in that day, then you do. But if they get to 100, slap them. You done ran out. And whoop them for all that 99 times. But they done went 400 times over. They like, shoot, they really believe Jesus was telling you to keep doing it. Hell no. Jesus wasn't telling you to keep doing it. Jesus telling you that stuff gonna run out, and time gonna run out, and you running out of time. You get old. You get tired. There's 24 hours in a day. Half of it is day, half of it is night. Jesus said, work while it's day, because the night comes, no man can work it. Because he can't see what he doing, where he going. Okay, now, it's time to daylight, because night is upon us. And it's not the break of dawn, it's going into late evening. We've wasted away the afternoon. But it's getting into late evening, and the night is coming, and we are wide open. We're not prepared in the night. Our houses are not fortified. We don't have anything. I was looking at the episode of how black folks were doing before the Great Depression and coming out of, and there was a school district that were called the Wall School. And I think it was Crock Wall or something like that, something like that. But you know what I'm saying? These is at a time where nobody would thought that any ideals from blacks would have been accepted any. And I ain't saying any of us are any exception of anything, you know, maybe, and because we're really not. When it just boil down to it, people make a choice whether they want to tolerate you or not, and sometimes laws interfere in that, and they end up having to tolerate you, and they tolerate you because of lawsuits and other issues and other rights that violate their human choice. That's it. And they just choose in the end, or they just didn't grow up that way, and it's just never been in their history, or they're erasing it from their history in some type of way by trying to at least give back something. But we've heard the story enough about how we're behind and what we're not doing and what we should do. At the time we should, we will. And I know we'll be more than prepared when that time arrives. And I know we're prepared because that time is here. We are already finna be 2 years behind. We're finna be 3 years behind here pretty soon. Going into that third year, most of us who haven't made up our mind, there'll already be a law in place that you're gonna have to either quarantine again. Remember they said to 14 days or 15 days. You can't be around people, and that's gonna be right here. See, that's in this book. Same thing happened to these people here. The law infringed on their human rights as a person. America didn't stand up for us. So those human rights are gone. Now those who are of the non-felonized community, those rights are going to be infringed upon, and you'll be able to reflect upon those countless number of people who lost their rights before the so-called pandemic, through legislations and through laws, precepts, policies, ordinances, federal, state, county codes, deliberately brought up for the purpose of control, confinement, and correction. As we learn more and more and really channel ourselves into it and give ourselves a reason to share the information that we do have, sit back and understand it and listen to it from each and every one of us, and really soak in enough of what we can get from somebody. If we can't get nothing from them, give something to them. If you ain't got nothing to give to them, just do what the old people used to do. Strike up a good conversation with them and have that, and that starts off somebody's day. You know, we have to get to the point to where something in our life reflect on somebody and it meant something to somebody else. Even if it's negative, if you got a good negative point, extremely good negative point, and it rubs off on somebody even negative, take that negative and put it with a positive and get a spark. I got this side over here, it's the negative side. And that's just how I roll. Get with that positive negative and get a spark. And that positive, it's just how that positive roll. I understand when people get that negative and hear that negative side. I understand it. I invite it. because it's going to rub off on me to understand it better, to really stick to my grounds on that positive tip, that it'll get better as long as we make it that way, as long as we're ready to do the full work. That means take back what's ours. David had to take somebody, a group came in, I can't remember what group it was, took David belongings and his wives, stole something, either the ark of the, stole something, the ark of the covenant, stole something, I can't remember. It was very important. David prayed and said, "Shall I pursue him and take him?" The Lord said, "Go pursue him, take it to." David went back and took it back what was theirs anyway. But still, here's the thing, and there's other stories about David, we have to know that, Joshua and all the rest of them. It's time to take it back. The kingdom of heaven has suffered violence, and that violence, take it back by force. And it suffered this violence. And the kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom of heaven's children, we call ourselves the body of Christ. Well, why do our body got to be bruised, brutalized, mangled, spit upon, and disenfranchised, dismembered, placed up on a stake, talked about, whipped? Why do our body, we the body of Christ, why do our body have to bleed so much? Take up upon me, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. There's going to be a time where we're going to just take that, and we are going to be the massive body, and we sit down at the right hand of the Father. And we're going to let our angels do our work. And they're going to get their hands righteously dirty. And they're going to start throwing in the Gulf. And we ain't got to wait. We'll be helping gather up those that need to be thrown in the Gulf. And we'll be the ones that's gathering. But we'll step under the angels. So they ain't got to wait on them to do all the work. Well, I'm just about out of time today. I hope I said something, food for thought. I hope I said something to make you think. You know what to do. Thank you again for supporting. Thank you again, Channel 49. Thank you again, all other networks. Until we meet again, John Williams Show, BPUA, Black Paralegals Undergraduate Association, Basement Paralegals Undergraduate Association, signing off. Until we meet again. Thank you. See you next time.